Hey gang, this is John, and this is a gorgeous day after work. It's actually the first day it hasn't rained since I got back from the Pathfinder Gathering. It's rained for 6 straight days, I think, and I just wanted to officially thank Dave Canterbury, his family, all the instructors, all the security, all the people that made that event possible. It was phenomenal. I can't wait to go back next year. All kinds of stuff we learned, and I just wanted to say thanks. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be showing the importance of a 15-minute fire, shelter, and water boil. And this is techniques that Dave has been teaching for a while, and I'll be going over really the reason why it's important to be able to do this. I saw further insights into that beyond just being able to do it for myself. I took a wilderness survival course, and a wilderness first aid course, and one of the things you have to treat everyone for shock, and so the first thing you got to do is be able to get somebody into it, and out of the weather, get a fire built and get some water boiling so you can start purifying things. So that put another perspective on just the fact that it's more than just being able to do it fast for me to get in and out of the weather. It's important maybe to save somebody's life. I'm going to be walking this gorgeous park, and I'll be stopping along the way possibly, and I'll get back to you, and I think you'll enjoy this. Stay with me. I found some yarrow. It's white flowers, little cluster of white flowers. Let's see if I can back up a little bit, and see the stem, the leaves are like fine feathers. Let's see if I can focus on that. I hope it's focusing. It's not. It doesn't look like it is, but very feathery, fine. Let's put it in my hand. See how fine and feathery that is. That is yarrow. That is one of the best plants you can possibly have for cuts, and also you can rub it on yourself as a insect repellent. The mosquitoes don't like that. Stay with me. Hey, it's John again, and I'm in a spot where I'm pretending like I want to set up camp, or I have just found somebody that needs first aid. So what I want to go over is I want to go over some of the knots that we learned at the Pathfinder Gathering. These are knots that are real common, and they're ones that you can use to put up your ridge line. They're designed for your emergency shelter, so they're knots for a ridge line. They're knots for attaching a tarp to a ridge line and attaching a tarp to the ground. So stay with me. I'll get out a big piece of rope, and I'll go through some of the knots real slowly for you. Okay, I'm going to stand behind the camera and try to tie these knots for you. The first one is you need to tie a loop in the end of your line. Your ridge line. I'm going to be using paracord. That's the material I use for my ridge line anyway, so I'm going to use a white one. Hopefully this will show up real well, and I'm going to do it really slowly. The first knot is a bow line, and the tag end is in my left hand right now. This is the running line, so now the tag end is in my right hand. So the tag end is the end that you're working with, and the running line is the standing portion, or the part you're not tying the knot in, or you're not working with. So the first thing you need to do is an overhand loop, and the way I do that is I just grab the line and twist away from myself. This creates an overhand loop. So the overhand loop means the tag end is over the running line, or standing line. An underhand loop is the opposite, where it's underneath. So we're doing an overhand loop. The easiest way to do that is to grab the running line and just twist it away from yourself, so you're creating this overhand loop. Now you take the tag end and you come up through the bottom of the loop, and then you go around the back side of the running line, and then you come back down through the loop. Okay, what's really important is that you hold on to the tag end and the loop, and the tag end is going to be on the inside of the loop. You hold on to those two and pull on the standing line. So when you're done, you should have a loop with a tag that's on the inside of it. You don't want it out here. It needs to be on the inside. That's called the bowline or bowline. The reason why that's used is because even if it gets wet, like say it's raining or it rains on you and you need to break camp, you can easily untie this knot. You just bend it in the back and it comes apart really easily, especially with paracord. Okay, I'll do that one more time. I've got the tag end is in my left hand, the running line is now in my right hand, so I'm grabbing it and I'm just twisting away from myself and forming a let me do that again so I'm in the camera. It's hard for me to see. I gotta look through the viewfinder. Okay, so I'm twisting away from myself, creating an overhand loop. The tag is on top of the running line. Now I take the tag end in my right hand, hold the loop, pinch the loop in my left, come up through the bottom of the loop, come around the back side of the running line, and then back down through the loop, down through the loop, and I grab the loop and the tag end and I just pull the running line. So you end up with a tag end on the inside of the loop. Okay, now I don't want to confuse you, but this loop has a tendency, if you don't want it to slip out, there are times if you want one a stronger that is kind of, because sometimes a bowline will, if it gets some slack in it, will it has a tendency to want to come out sometimes. So go overhand loop, come up through, make sure you got a long tag end, come around, back down through, make your tag end long. Okay, now pull it. Now take the tag end and make it, just go around the loop once with a half hitch, and that won't slip out ever. Okay, so that is the bowline. Now all you're doing is you're putting a loop in the end of a rope. So if you want to do a quick, easy, if you don't want to do the bowline, you can just fold the line back on itself, creating a bite, and then just do an overhand knot in that loop, just like this. That will create a loop. Okay, that's harder to get untied, but that's one way of doing it. So any way you want to make a loop in the end, because that's you're just going to be doing putting a loop at the end. Okay, the next one is called a fisherman's knot, and what we're doing here with this is we're going to be using this piece of line we're going to turn into a prusik loop. So in order to do that, we have to join the two together. So to do that, we use a fisherman's knot. Once again, easily comes out. You cross it over, right, left over the right, and then you just make an overhand knot, just like that. And then what I do is I switch hands, come back around, just flip it over, so I'm creating the knot the same direction I did before. The reason why that's important is because when you slide them together, you get the knots butt up together nicely. Okay, that is fisherman's knot, or it's also called a necklace knot because you can adjust it. See, by pulling that out. Okay, I'll do that one more time. This one's pretty easy. It's just 2 overhand knots. Okay. So I just cross left over right. Now I pinch that off, so now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back underneath, and I'm going to tie right here. I'm going to tie an overhand knot, just like that. Now I'm going to switch hands. This way it'll make it the same. I want it to be the same direction. So go over like this. Now I just fold it out, flip it so that I can tie that same knot, just like that. And when they come together neatly. So you see the two sides butted together, and that's it. Okay, that's how you make the loop for a prusik knot. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're going to go over to our tree that we've picked, and I'm going to show you how to put up a ridge line, because the next knot's going to be called the trucker's hitch. Stay with me. Okay, I've got my bowl and the end of my ridge line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wrap it around the tree, and I'm going to run the line through that loop. Okay, I'm going to slide the knot around to the side so that I can pull against it. And now I'm going to go to this other tree. Let me bring you over with me. Okay. Now, you want this ridge line, you want to be about waist high or so. If it's bad weather, you bring it down. If it's really hot out, you can bring it up. Okay. So, but you want to start about waist high. You come around the side of the tree. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come out here and we're going to make a loop. Make sure you can see me. Alright, we're going to make a loop in, this is the tag end is over here. We're going to make a loop in the piece. It's not the tag end, it's the running side, but the loop is going to be, we're going to create the loop and fold it over. What's important is we fold it over the towards the tree. Okay, I'll do that again because it's kind of, make sure you can see okay. Let me bring this right around here so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. Now, let me do it again. I'm going around the tree. Let's go around on this side. Going around the tree. All right. Now, the tag end is in my right hand. Get around here, I can see. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to come out here and I'm going to create a loop just like this, and then I'm going to grab this line and pull a bite through it just like that. Okay, let me do it again. This is going to make like a slip knot. Okay, so I make a loop and then I reach down, and I'm reaching towards the tree or towards the line that's got the end in it, okay, and making the loop here. Okay, the way you do not want to do it is you don't want to make a loop and then reach towards away from the tree, making a loop like this, because that loop will pull out when you put tension on it. It'll collapse, okay? So that's not what you want. You want to make sure that the loop is toward the line is on is towards the end of the rope. Okay, just like that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to run this tag in through that loop and we're going to pull. Let me make sure I got you in line and view. Okay. Let me get on the other side. Okay. Alright, so we've got the loop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull against that loop. And what we're doing is it's creating a pulley effect, so we're multiplying the force. So we pull, see how we can make that really tight? And what you want to do then is you want to grab it right at the where it bends around that loop and pinch it. And then what you want to do is you want to throw this line over this line thrown over here, and then but you want to grab a loop in it and pull it back towards the knot. Okay? That's called a trucker's hitch, and see how tight that is? And then when you're ready to take it out, all you have to do is pull on the string, let that go, come around and pull this, and it comes out. Okay, also I'll do that one more time. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make a loop. Oh, you got to see what I'm doing hand-wise. Okay. So I'm creating a loop. Okay, I got a loop in the line, and now I'm going to just reach through and grab the line that's towards the tree and pull that tight. So I form my loop. Now I'm going to take this tag end and I'm going to put it through the loop. I'm going to take this tag end, going to go through the loop, and then I'm going to pull backwards, back away from the other tree and form. I'm multiplying my effort here. That's why it works so well. So I got it when I got it as tight as I want it. That's really tight. I come up here and I pinch the loop where the loop and the running line goes through the loop. I pinch that spot, and I form a loop. I reach through and I grab this line and I pull it tight against there. So now I've got a sliding, this is sliding now. Okay? So now I'm going to show you how you use this to put up your tarp. Okay, so in real time, let me get this over here so you can see what I'm trying to see what we're doing here. Okay. All right, I'm bringing this around the tree. Okay. I can't see myself here. Bringing this around the tree. Okay, let me get on this side so you can see better. Okay, this is the tag end. So in the other side, I make a loop. You can see here. Make a loop and reach through and grab. Okay, so I formed my loop. Now I'm going to run this line through that loop and pull back against that loop. And then I pinch everything. Throw that line over. And I'm just going to reach through and pull that tight against that knot. Okay. So there's my ridge line. Now I've got my emergency, or my reusable space blanket. This is like a tarp type blanket. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attach this. I'm going to take one corner. I'm going to take one corner, and I'm going to put that loop that I formed, I'm going to put that up through the grommet. So let me get closer so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to feed this loop. I got a couple of sticks I'm going to use for a peg. So I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to put it up through. Make sure that's the right corner. Pinch it, force it through the grommet. And now I'm going to put this toggle in there, and I'm going to pull that tight. Okay. Now that'll hold the tarp. Okay. That's going to hold the tarp. Now I'm going to go over to this side. I'm going to go over to this side, and what I'm going to do, I've got lines through here that I kept in here, but I'm just going to take these out because I'm not doing the same thing. I'm going to take a line that I made. Oh, here's the one I made for my prusik. Okay, so I'm going to take this loop. Well, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this prusik, I'm going to make a prusik knot on this ridge line. So the way you do that is you take the loop and you just run it through itself 3 times. Just like that. And you keep it dressed because it'll want to kind of fold over itself. So when you're done, let me try that again. Take the loop, I'm going to use the knotted end, go through itself 3 times, and try to keep it dressed like this. Okay? And then just bring that up. Okay, I'm trying to... There we go. Okay, when they're dressed correctly, let me get a tight-in shot on that. Okay. Zoom in on it. That's what it should look like. Okay, see how they're all... There you go. That's a prusik knot, and so you can pull laterally like this or like that, and it won't move. But you can actually, if you push it, you can actually slide it along. Get back. The beauty of it is you can slide it along the rope. So this is how we're going to tension this. So we're going to get another stick to use as a toggle. And we're going to pinch that and run it through the, hope you can see me. We're pinching this. We're going to run it through a grommet. And then just stick this toggle through it, which is a stick, or you can use a tent peg. Stick that through there. And now we're just going to pull this prusik until it won't move anymore. And now you can see how tight. Let me back off. Now you can see how tight this tarp is. Okay, now the last two, you just take you take two more of your lines and your I made a couple of stakes out of sticks. And you just come back here. Stake it down. Here. I'll just quickly tie this together like I did the other one. Pull this one down tight. Here we go. You can dress this up. And you see there's your shelter. What you want to do next is you want to take your 3 mil 55-gallon drum liners, and that's why you want to carry a couple of them. And I'm not going to get them out because everybody knows what a drum liner is, or a garbage bag. And you fill those up with debris so that when it's compressed, you got 4 inches of insulation, and you can lie comfortably on those. And the reflective side is up so that when we build our fire, that will reflect the heat up against you or your victim that you've found that you're trying to help treat for shock. Okay, that's the 5-minute shelter portion. It took for a long time, but I was showing you the knots. You use a loop knot at the end of your ridge line. It's right there. Let's see here. Right there. And then you loop it around on itself. You go across at this side, you tie the trucker's hitch, and then you attach the toggle through the loop that you've created, and then you put your prusik knot on there, and then you just fasten the bottom pieces down. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now you want to be able to create a 5-minute fire. You want to be able to create a 5-minute fire and a 5-minute get your water boiling in 5. So we've created our shelter system, and you can actually do that shelter system. You can do in get over here. You can actually do the shelter system once you know how to tie the knots and practice those. This shelter you can go up in about a minute. Okay, it takes almost no time at all. Carry some tent stakes. So I grabbed my pack and they weren't in there, so I just used sticks. It just takes longer to carve your own stakes, but that's not a big deal. But if time is of the essence, or if it's raining or whatever, you don't want to fiddle around with carving tent stakes if you can carry some with you. So I carry 4 tent stakes wrapped up with my space blanket. The other thing too is it's nice to carry 2 space blankets, so in addition to the garbage bags, so that you can put a space blanket down there with the reflective side up and capture that much more heat, or you can wrap yourself up or the person up in the other space blanket, and that'll help conserve their body heat. We'll keep it reflected back. So this is part 1. Part 2 is going to be the 5-minute fire and the 5 more minutes for boiling water, so a total of 10 more minutes. Stay tuned for part 2. Please subscribe, like, and comment on this. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave a comment, or you can give me a personal message. Till we meet again, God